The second session speaker and resource person is Honorable Principal R.T. DESHMUKH Sir, Devgiri College, Aurangabad. Sir will talk on, and his topic is demonstration of responses to matrix of high weightage. Sir has huge experience how to face or NAAC accreditation process. So I request Honorable Dr. N.S. Sir, please welcome and felicitate our speaker, Honorable Professor R.T. DESHMUKH Sir, by offering bouquet. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I request Honorable Professor R.T. DESHMUKH Sir, please guide us on the topic demonstration of responses to matrix of high weightage.
Respected Principal of this college, Dr. Grievance, the IQAC coordinator, other members of the IQAC, and the teachers and participants of this 2-day national seminar on quality improvement. First, I will clarify the selection of the topic. Earlier, the topic given was a demonstration of how to respond to the matrix of high weightage. That topic is limited to those who are actively associated with writing the self-study report, especially IQAC coordinators and IQAC members. For general teachers, that topic is not so useful. That's why I have selected this topic of wider importance for all the teachers: teaching, learning, evaluation. There are two reasons behind selecting this topic. Number one, in the scheme of NAAC, its total weightage 1000 points. The second criterion, teaching, learning, evaluation, that carries the highest weightage, 350 points. If you consider other criteria, first criterion 100, second criterion 350, third criterion research 110, fourth criterion infrastructure 100, fifth criterion student support progression 140, sixth and seventh 100 each. So what we remember is the second criterion carries the highest weightage. So we must give very close attention to the performance under the second criterion. This is one reason. Second reason is, if colleges perform poorly in the second criterion, overall their grade is affected. If you are poor in the second criterion, then you will be poor in achieving your grade. And the best example is your college. Still I remember, your college performed very well in the 4th and the 5th criteria: infrastructure, learning resources, and student support progression. You may remember you have scored A++ grade for those two criteria: infrastructure and student support progression. Had you displayed that type of performance under the second criterion, definitely your college would have been placed in A grade. But in the second criterion, you have 2.20 to 2.30, something like that, isn't it? 2.20 to 2.30. That is just B grade. A++ in two criteria. But in the remaining, B grade. So, we must provide more and more attention to the better and better performance under the second criterion, teaching, learning, evaluation. Next. We talk about 7 criteria. Under each criterion, there are certain key indicators, certain areas in which the college is expected to show performance. Under the second criterion, totally there are 7 key indicators. 7 key indicators. Number 1, students. Students are admitted to college. Number 2, teachers. Teachers teach them. Before teaching begins, one more key indicator is there: teacher-student ratio. Teacher-student ratio. If students are there, if teachers are there, if the proportion is quite appropriate ratio, then the teaching learning process will begin. Teaching learning process based on what? That comes in the first criterion, curriculum. On the basis of curriculum, teaching learning process begins. At the same time, there is one more process: evaluation. Evaluation process and reforms. First, these 3: students, teachers, their ratio. Then there are 2 processes. When the processes are complete, what is there? There is the output, or there is the outcome. Student performance and learning outcomes. And lastly, student satisfaction survey. We have to pay attention to all these. Now, I wish to draw your attention to the figures I have given. Student 40. How are your students? 40 points for that. How are your teachers? Again 40 points. Equal weightage to students and teachers, and equal weightage to their ratio also, 40 points. Student-teacher ratio. Students are all right, teachers are all right, their ratio is all right, then the processes will begin. Teaching learning process and evaluation process. After these processes are complete, you will get outcome, output. This entire thing may be compared to certain other instances in our daily life. For example, cooking. Cooking is what? It is a process, isn't it? There is a nice cook, quality of the cook. He should have some materials, raw material. Using raw material, the nice cook begins his process. The process takes some time. When the process is complete, food is ready. That is the output. If that food is tasty, one who consumes it, he is satisfied. That may be the outcome of nice cooking, isn't it? So, in this slide, we are going to consider each and every key indicator. What should be our performance? And all these key indicators, they have high weightage, 40, 40, 40, then 90 and then 60. I wish to draw your attention to one more significant point. For student 40, teacher 40, 80, ratio 40, 120, processes 80, teaching, learning and evaluation, 120 plus 80, 200 points. And for outcome, 90 plus 60, 150. Now all these, they are interrelated. Let us see how. Next. First, student enrollment and profile. Student enrollment and profile. This key indicator for 40 points. Under this key indicator, only 2 questions are asked, and they are quantitative. Number 1, what is the intake capacity of the institution? And what is the percentage of actual enrollment for the last 5 years? Intake capacity and enrollment. Simply you have to give figures. For BSc first year, the intake capacity may be 120. That is your intake capacity. Normally the intake capacity remains the same every year. Every year you don't go on adding divisions after divisions. 120 is the intake capacity. What about actual admissions? many students are admitted against that intake capacity? Different answers are possible. 120 is the intake capacity and 120 are the actual admissions. 120 are the actual admissions. There may be some colleges, especially in rural areas, they may not have this kind of admission seen. Intake capacity 120, actual admissions 110, 105 or 100. There may be some colleges in the hilly area, in the remote areas. There the picture will differ. Intake capacity 120, but actual admissions 50 to 60, 70. Isn't it? So, what is your student enrollment? First question. Intake capacity and the students enrolled, admitted. That signifies the quality of your college. There are some colleges, intake capacity is 120, but the applications for admission are 240, just double. Seats less, applicants more. It means your college must be a quality college. Without that, students cannot rush for admissions to your college. Isn't it? So, if the students and the intake capacity, the number is the same, 120 intake capacity, 120 students admitted, means 100% admissions. Now the average of last 5 years, in some year, due to some reason which is beyond our control, admissions may be less by 1 or 2%. But normally in the last 5 years, our average percentage of admissions is 95 to 100. If you give this answer, then you will get 4 out of 4 points, full marks in the NAAC evaluation. Full marks. Not a single mark can be deducted, because your enrollment is up to the mark, very high. For the colleges delivering general education, normally 80 to 100% admissions, full marks. 60 to 80% admissions, 3 marks. 40 to 60% admissions, 2 marks. 20 to 40% admissions, only 1 mark. But if your college cannot admit even 20% students, below 20, then you will get 0 points. This is the NAAC's benchmarking for allotting marks to you. Alright. So every year, to ensure full admissions, that must be the target of any college. 95 to 100% admissions. Admissions are full. And this admission process shouldn't take much time. For a good college like you, the admission process should be over in 4-5 days. Declare your admission program, students will apply, you will publish the merit list, you will admit the students. That's all. And the very next day, the classes will begin. Alright. Now, how many students take admission to your college? The answer is satisfactory. Alright, you get good marks. Now the next question is, who are those students? Who are those students? That is called profile. Actually, who are those students? For that, second question is asked. That is for 20 marks. How many students admitted? 20 marks. What kinds of students admitted? That is for 20 marks. What is the second question? How many seats have been earmarked for reserve category students? How many seats have been earmarked for reserve category students? And what percentage of reserve category students have been admitted to the college during the last 5 years? Reserve category students being attracted to our college, that too from all the reserve categories. SC, ST, NT, OBC, SBC, etc. $120 is the intake capacity. Say 14% reservation for SC categories. So out of 120, you have to admit 16 SC students. Actually, how many SC students are admitted? Their intake capacity is 16. If 16 are admitted, well and good. The same is the case regarding ST category. And it becomes difficult to attract ST category students. They are very rare in our area. OBC categories we get. There is no problem. So, the students of your college should belong to different categories. That is more important. Those students should represent different social sections of the society. That is more important. If reserve category students are not admitted to your college, only preference is given to the general category students, then that is not a good picture in your college. Your college should cater to the educational needs of reserve category students also. Here ends the performance regarding the first key indicator, student enrollment and profile. Intake capacity and actual admissions. Intake capacity for reserve category students and their actual admissions, 40 points. Move to the next one. Teacher profile and quality. Teacher profile and quality. First we talk about teacher quality. If teachers are highly qualified, those who have cleared NET set, those who have completed PhD, or those who are doing postdoctoral work, they are highly qualified teachers. So there is a question under teacher quality. How many teachers are PhD holders? 20 points. For the answer, 20 points. How many teachers are PhD holders? In some colleges, the picture is very hopeful. 90 to 100% teachers are PhD holders. In rural areas, the picture is different. 50%, 60%, 40%, 30%. In order to get good marks in the NAAC assessment, the college must try to improve the quality of the teachers. Suppose today 50% teachers are PhD holders. Make a plan of the next 5 years. Now 50% teachers are PhD holders. In the coming 5 years, remaining at least 40% teachers must secure PhD. Ask them to select topic, to choose a guide, or to clear that PET. And anyhow, they should secure PhD within the coming 5 years. At the end of the 5 years, when you are compiling the self-study report, very confidently you say 90% teachers are PhD holders. If that is your answer, you get full marks, 4 out of 4. But if your answer is 50% only, you get only 2 marks, not 4. So how to get more and more marks? That depends upon our performance. Alright. Then teacher profile. Teacher profile. What is this teacher profile? Here one question is asked, you may remember it. How many sanctioned posts are there? How many teachers posts are sanctioned for the college? And how many teachers are actually recruited? Just like students, what is the intake capacity of students and what are the actual admissions? In the same way, sanctioned posts of teachers and the filled up posts. How many teachers are recruited? If 100% recruitment is there, 40 posts are sanctioned, 40 teachers have been recruited, not a single post vacant. That is the best picture. You get all points. But this is not a case in so many institutions. Visit any college in Maharashtra, visit any university in Maharashtra, you will find a large number of posts lying vacant. So, sanction posts and prompt recruitment of teachers. Recruit teachers, make them qualified, and then let them teach. Isn't it? Teachers. Sufficient number of teachers, say optimum number of teachers, and their high qualification. Such teachers will be able to get involved in the teaching learning process. Next. Now, the third point, teacher-student ratio. In the earlier manual, teacher-student ratio, this key indicator carried 20 points, the weightage of 20. Now its weightage has been raised, 40. Teacher-student ratio, 40. Why? For the good teaching learning process, teacher-student ratio is important. Still I remember the days when I was a teacher, or when your Honorable President M.R. Patil was a teacher. How many students we used to have in our class? 150, 175, 200, sometimes 225. Only one teacher and 225 students. In those days, we didn't know this term also, student-teacher ratio. Student-teacher ratio. But today, this has become very, very important for teaching learning process. Dr. Prashant Ambad knows very well what is this ratio for engineering colleges. I think 1 to 15? 20. 1 to 20. For every 20 students, there must be one teacher. CBSE pattern schools, 1 to 30. Isn't it? That is the ideal ratio. What about the colleges of general education? We may give the concession of 10 more students, 1 to 40. 1 to 40 must be the student-teacher ratio in arts, science, commerce colleges. That ratio must be maintained. For maintaining ratio, only full-time regular teachers are considered. Part-time teachers teachers on club hour basis, they are not considered. Only full-time regular teachers. Number of teachers, number of students. Number of students divided by the number of teachers, that is the ratio. If the ratio is 1:40, you get 4 points, 4 out of 4. But if this ratio is not maintained, 1:50, 1:60, 70, 100, more than 100, then you get less points. So we have to concentrate upon maintaining teacher-student ratio. What is the significance of student-teacher ratio? Number one, student engagement in learning process. Only 20 students are sitting before me. I am a teacher. Because the number of students is limited, I know who pays attention, who doesn't pay attention. Student engagement in the learning process, that can be overseen when the number is limited. Contact, then mentoring, supervision and assessment. If the number is sizable, it becomes easy for the teachers to maintain personal contacts with students. A teacher knows his students from close quarters. Second point is mentoring. This mentoring is important before the teaching learning process begins or even during the process. Earlier, there was a key indicator that has been dropped now, catering to student diversity, that has been deleted now, but still it is important. Before students enter into the classroom, their basic needs, primary needs must be satisfied, and that comes under mentoring. Take care of students. Try to understand their problems. Solve those problems first and then send them to the classroom. That comes under mentoring. Mentoring is possible when the ratio is low, 1:20, 1:30, 1:40. But a single teacher cannot mentor a large number of students, 100 and more than 100. So ratio is important. Assessment. There are home assignments, there are tutorials, there are class tests, and there is continuous assessment, internal evaluation. For that, the ratio is important. If the ratio is low, 1:20, 1:30, the workload of the teacher becomes manageable. I was an English teacher, compulsory subject. all the students, they took the exam of English. In the class, 150 students. I had to assess 150 answer scripts. On the other hand, a teacher of public administration, only 10 students offered public administration. He had to assess only 10 papers. How will he assess those 10 papers? How carefully? And how carefully or carelessly I will assess all those 150 scripts? Workload of the teacher. So, workload becomes manageable when the ratio is low. Next. Now, the process is going to begin. As I said, the process depends on curriculum. Teachers go through the curriculum. They plan the curriculum. Teachers are qualified. They are sufficient in number. If I remember well, this is the system in the engineering stream. When you wish to begin a new engineering college, first you have to appoint teachers. First you have to appoint teachers before the visit of, am I right? Before the committee of AICTE visits the spot, the teachers must be ready. The director must have been appointed and requisite number of teachers as per the student teacher ratio must have been appointed. Purchase of library books, subscription to journals, that is necessary. So, first teachers to be appointed. That too, quality teachers. Quality teachers in sufficient number. Now, this side is complete. Teachers. Second one, students. 100% admissions are complete. Even reserve category seats are filled up. Students are ready. Teachers are ready, students are ready, and their ratio is well maintained. Now there should be no harm to begin the teaching learning process. Teaching learning process. At the same time, one more process begins, evaluation. I will talk about it later on. But we shall talk about teaching learning process now. Regarding teaching learning process, these points are emphasized today by NAAC, by the new education policy, even by the UGC. Participative learning. So far, traditionally, in the classroom situation, only the teachers were active. Students had to listen to passively. Simply, they had to listen. it has been changed. Students should participate in learning. A teacher should seek more and more participation of students. Second, it is not experimental, experiential methods. Experiential methods. A teacher should be able to expose the students to different live experiences. Let them learn through experiences. Let them have field visits. Let them have study tours. Let them have apprenticeship, internship. Let them learn by having live experience from the field itself. That is experiential learning. Collaborative and individual learning. Sometimes some students, they learn individually. They will take the help of computer, internet, and they will go on learning. It is also learning, no doubt. But a group may come together. A group. And there will be some discussion in the group. Different points will emerge from that discussion. If there is a single topic, I may give my own idea about that topic. Some different idea may come from some different person. That is also a good learning. That is collaborative learning. And technology-based learning, which you know better, technology-based learning. By using these different methods, you have to shape your students. Dr. Ambad used certain terms in his presentation. Make the students creative. Teach them how to think, develop their thinking ability. Let the learning be inquiry based. Don't teach them everything. Let them inquire, let them find out, and let them learn. Inquiry based. Let them encounter certain problems and let them find out solutions on those problems. Problem solving method. By using these different methods, these are some, there may be some other also. New techniques, innovations are always possible as far as teaching methods are concerned. This is teaching learning. Next, evaluation process. This process also goes on simultaneously. Teaching learning and evaluation. 1 month teaching learning, after 1 month there is a test. After 2nd month there is one more test. After 4-5 months, semester exam. You might have heard these two terms, formative evaluation and summative evaluation in the new education policy. Formative evaluation, that is a continuous assessment, has been given prime importance. Continuous assessment of students. What is important in this process from the viewpoint of NAAC? Number one, quality of the process to judge performance and outcomes. Quality of the process. What is this quality of the process? Imagine university examination. There is some lazy paper setter. He asks very simple questions, very easy to answer. Students take the exam, write the answer scripts, and in great delight they come out of the examination hall. Very easy question paper. Even an average student easily gets good marks in that examination. A student of 35% to 40% range, he gets first division, 60%. Can you say this evaluation process has any quality? It judges the students accurately. In the ideal question paper, see, Prashant Ambad may know, even testing is a science. You have to know how to test our students. If you are going to ask 10 questions, what should be the difficulty level of those 10 questions you should know? One or two challenging questions which may be answered by only advanced learners. 4 or 5 questions of medium level. Those who study, they may be able to answer. And 1 or 2 simple questions. Thereby, you judge the quality of each and every student. So, the evaluation process must be good. Transparency. Second important point. Transparency in the evaluation process. You set the question paper, evaluate the question paper, hand over the script to the student, and show him the model answer sheet, model answer paper. This is the correct answer. You judge. That is transparency. Conduct of evaluation as per the academic calendar. There is a question whether the institution adheres to the academic calendar, including for the continuous internal assessment. Tests, exams, they must be conducted in time. Even results must be declared in time. And the time is, I think, 45 days these days. It is incorporated in the Maharashtra Public Universities Act, 45 days. Efficient and timely grievance redressal. Whenever examinations are there are certain complaints. Complaints of students, complaints of parents. The complaints may be regarding the internal evaluation. Sometimes the complaints may be regarding the external evaluation. But complaints will be there because it is examination system. Those complaints must be resolved in time. That is called grievance redressal. A student who is confident of securing first division in the external evaluation, if he secures 40%, he will complain. No, I am confident of first division. How is it that I got only 40%? Recounting, rechecking, or getting the photocopy of the answer script. Resolve his grievance in time. The same is the case regarding internal evaluation. In internal evaluation, normally, we teachers are liberal. 20 out of 20, 19 out of 20. So there is not a single complaint, isn't it? There is not a single complaint. But there are certain professional colleges. Less marks are given to certain students deliberately in order to lower their rank. This may happen. They may complain. You have to resolve them. And lastly, reforms based on feedback. Any system, any evaluation system is not 100% precise. In the course of time, some unfair means, some malpractices enter. So you have to change the system. You have to bring some new reform and make the system as efficient as possible. This is about the evaluation system. Students 40 points, teachers 40 points, ratio 40 points, teaching, learning, evaluation 40 points, and evaluation process 40 points. In evaluation process, I forgot to mention one more important point. we shouldn't talk only about the evaluation of students. We should also talk about the evaluation of teachers. One, and evaluation of the teaching learning process also. Evaluation of the teaching learning process. Criterion number 6, governance and leadership. There is an independent key indicator regarding the IQAC, Internal Quality Assurance System. One of the major functions of the IQAC is to review the teaching learning process again and again. If needs be, to suggest reforms in the teaching learning process. So there is the evaluation of teaching learning process. One, and there is the evaluation of teachers also. Who does the evaluation of teachers? Teacher himself. Teacher himself evaluates. That you call self-appraisal. And that self-appraisal is just reviewed by the higher authority, the principal of the management. This is evaluation. Now, the input is complete, the processes are complete. Now the outcome. Next. Student performance and learning outcomes. Student performance and learning outcomes. See its weightage, 90. Out of 90, 45 weightage is for students' results, performance in the examination. Students' results, passing percentage during the last 5 years, persistent student performance in the examinations. 45 points for that. Now, here we have to show better and better performance. What should be the percentage of results? Again the same, 90 to 100% results. That may be treated as the top performance. If your performance, if your students pass out from 90 to 100%, you will get full points, 4 out of 4. Then 70 to 90, 50 to 70, then the marks are reduced. So pay attention to students' results. And regarding learning outcomes, I don't talk because he has talked in so detailed, in so nice a manner. Learning outcomes. 45 points for that. 45 for results, 45 for outcomes. Out of 45, stating outcomes, circulating outcomes, defining outcomes, and the remaining for mapping outcomes. One more point, the last one, student satisfaction survey. Now, imagine from the beginning, very eagerly the student seeks admission to your college. Teachers in the college take care of the students in every respect. The teachers are sufficient in number. Good teacher-student ratio is maintained. And the teaching-learning process is very efficient. Student-centered learning. Students participate. Students experience, they learn very well. Students acquire knowledge. Students acquire skills. If that happens, students must be satisfied. Student satisfaction. For that, 60 points, student satisfaction survey, 60 points. When are students satisfied? And when they are not satisfied? If a teacher teaches really well, students are satisfied. If the teacher is able to communicate himself to the students, students will appreciate him. If the students perceive the dedication of the teacher, they will appreciate him and they will be happy. You know that this survey is conducted by NAAC itself, NAAC office. You have to upload the data of 50% students of your college, current year students. In your college, 1000 students learn. The data of 500 students will be sent to the NAAC. The NAAC will send the survey sheet online to just 10% of students. 10% or 100, whatever may be less. The survey will be complete just within 10 days, 15 days. That's all. Normally, students give good responses. Students give positive responses. In case of your college also, you have very good points in student satisfaction survey. I have visited so many colleges. Many times I find teachers' performance is poor, but students' performance is quite satisfactory. So, nothing to worry about students' satisfaction survey. If we pay attention to all these 7 points, 7 key indicators, then you may score higher and higher points for the second criteria. And as I said earlier, the score in the second criterion decides your grade. Decides your grade. Alright? If you score well, I remember one college. This KTHM College Nasik. KTHM College Nasik. In teaching learning evaluation, they have 4 out of 4. 4 out of 4. So, that college is top in Maharashtra today. Their score is 3.79. KTHM College Nasik, 3.79. Twice I had been to that college. The point is, score more and more in teaching learning evaluation. Teaching learning evaluation 350 and criterion number 5, student support progression activities 140. 350 plus 140, 490. That is near about 50% of points. 500 out of 1000. They are given only to these two criteria. Criterion number 2 and criterion number 5. This doesn't mean you should neglect other criteria. But these are the two criteria having higher weightage. Give more attention to them. Here, with these words, I close down my discussion. If you have any doubts, any queries, you may ask me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for guiding us on second criterion and all the 7 key indicators of this. I thank you all. Now we have lunch break. We all should be in G08 for lunch. Next schedule is the third session of our today workshop. That is, we will meet at dot 2:45, and the session is of Dr. B.S. Nagawal sir, and the topic is innovative and effective teaching methods. So thank you all. Thank you.